Good evening, welcome along to this week's Women's Football Chat. My name is Chris Gadsby. I'm here every week bringing you the very latest from the third and fourth tiers of women's football here in England. That's the FA Women's National League, and there is just one weekend left of the season. A full programme of fixtures to look ahead to later on in the programme. I'll take you through everything that could happen on Sunday afternoon, including the 3 league titles still to be decided and that one relegation spot that has gone right down to the wire. We will as well have a bit of a look at the state of Tier 5 and what it might mean for teams coming into the FAWNL for the 25-26 season. We have now, of course, as well got confirmation that all 8 sides rather that came into the FAWNL for this season have retained their place, which is great for the pyramid as a whole. But let's get straight down to it with the result from the past 7 days. Just one game in the FAWNL to talk about over the last week, and it comes in the Northern Premier Division, where Stourbridge lost at home to Nottingham Forest by 4-0. Goals in this one: Charlie Wellings in the 19th minute, Holly Manders 29th, Holly Olding in the 39th, and Sophie Domingo in the 62nd minute rather. What that means for the Northern Premier Division table is it is still between Forest and Wolves going into the final day of the season. Forest top of the table on 55 points, Wolverhampton Wanderers second on 52, so still technically in with a chance of winning the title. However, they will need to win on Sunday, hope that Forest lose, which is something they have not done all season long, and overturn a 14-goal swing in the goal difference column as well. So it's going to be a very tall ask for Wolverhampton Wanderers. We will get on to who's playing who, I would say later on in the show. However, given that was the only result from the past 7 days, we are already moving on now to look at the fixtures going on Sunday afternoon, and we will start in the Northern Premier Division as we usually do. So there are only 2 games you need to really be focusing on Sunday afternoon. That is Nottingham Forest at home to West Bromwich Albion, who are currently in 7th, and Wolverhampton Wanderers at home to Liverpool Feds. Liverpool Feds currently 6th. So the top 2 both playing sides that are in the mid-table with nothing to fight for. West Brom supposed to have a bit more to fight for than Liverpool Feds do. Liverpool Feds are locked into that 6th position and have been for a couple of weeks. West Bromwich Albion will be wanting to stay where they are in 7th. Sporting Cows are just a point behind. Hull City are just a point behind. West Brom will not want to drop down to 9th to finish the season off. So those are the 2 games. Forest, as I said, unbeaten all season long, and they just need a point to absolutely guarantee that they will be in the Championship next season, even if Forest lose. Unless Wolves can score about a dozen goals at home to Liverpool Feds, then the goal difference should be enough for Forest. That being said, of course, Forest did put 7 past Liverpool Feds away from home last week. So if Wolves can do a similar thing and perhaps more so at home, then it could be a little bit interesting should the result not go the way Forest want. But kind of foresee that Forest will end up securing the points that they need and will be going into the Championship for next season. Elsewhere in the Northern Premier Division, Burnley against Sporting Cowser is 4th against 8th. Hull City, who are in 9th, take on Rugby Borough, who are 5th. Stoke City against Halifax is 3rd against 11th, and Stourbridge take on Derby County, that is 12th against 10th. The other important thing, I suppose, from the Northern Premier Division to keep half an eye on is the results for Stourbridge and for Halifax. If Stourbridge were able to beat Derby County this weekend and Halifax were to lose, or in fact draw, then Stourbridge would overtake Halifax into 11th on the final day of the season. Potentially significant should a team based in the south, i.e. Portsmouth, be the ones that come down from the Championship. It is looking unlikely that is going to be the case. However, we are in this situation where that is still a possibility. There are not many games left in the Championship at all, although it does finish after the FAWNL. Bottom of the Championship currently looks like this. Sheffield United, with 2 games to go, are on 7 points. Portsmouth have 1 game remaining and they are on 10 points. Sheffield United then, with 2 games to go, still with the opportunity. They have Southampton at home this weekend and then Sunderland away next weekend. Portsmouth, who only have 1 game left to go, are playing that game this weekend at home to Blackburn Rovers, who currently sit in 9th. And also have 2 games left to go. So should Portsmouth get something out of that game this weekend with Blackburn, and should Sheffield United not get anything from their game, then that will be decided this weekend. And then when we get to next week's show and we're rounding up what happened on the final day of the season, then we will be able to know who did what and what the situation is. But at the moment, with Sheffield United coming down, Halifax and Stourbridge would both be relegated, and it's the team in 11th in the Southern Premier Division who would be offered that reprieve. Let's look then at the Southern Premier Division, the division where there is the most to be decided. Because we have teams at the top and the bottom still fighting for their respective championship and surviving from relegation. Let's start at the top. That's pretty straightforward. Ipswich Town need a point at home to Cheltenham Town in order to be sure of the title. Realistically, though, they have won promotion to the championship. They are 3 points clear of #United with 1 game to go, but they have a goal difference which is 36 better. And I very much doubt that A, Ipswich are going to lose, and B, #United are going to beat Oxford United, who are in 5th, away from home by something like 34 goals to 0. So Ipswich Town have done it, but we can't technically say they've done it. It's the bottom that is more interesting. The fight for that relegation spot is between Billericay Town and Plymouth Argyle. Billericay Town away at AFC Wimbledon, who are 7th. Plymouth Argyle away at Gwalior United, who are 9th. Now, Gwalior United, thanks to a couple of good results recently, were looking like they were going to be in that fight, but have made themselves safe. So it is between Billericay Town and Plymouth Argyle. Now, Plymouth Argyle are against the team much lower in the table. Gwalior United 9th, AFC Wimbledon 7th. Neither side have got anything to play for, though, Gwalior or Wimbledon. And it's going to be interesting to see how that one plays out. The 2 teams are tied on points. It could come down to goal difference. Let's say at the minute the goal difference is in Billericay's favour, -27 to Plymouth's -30. But let's say that AFC Wimbledon beat Billericay Town 4-0 and Gwalior beat Plymouth Argyle 1-0. Well, then the goal difference would be the same, and it will go down to goals scored. Goals scored is currently in Billericay's Town favour of 25 against 23, which means that there is the small possibility that, let's say, Billericay Town lose 4-0 and Plymouth Argyle lose 4-3. 3-2. That would mean that the goal difference is the same, and then the goal scored is the same, and then we get right down into the tie-breaking criteria between those two. And even then, after all of that, it may end up not mattering if Plymouth Argyle are offered to stay in the division with Sheffield United coming down from the Championship. So a lots of ifs, buts and maybes in the Southern Premier Division relegation fight that they may end up not meaning anything whatsoever. So that's the situation down towards the bottom. As I said, Ipswich are champions elect, really. They just have to play that game and not lose by about 30 goals, which, let's be honest, is not going to happen. So that's the situation in the Southern Premier Division. Elsewhere in the division, teams finishing off their season, it's 4th against 3rd as Exeter City host Watford. And then Lewis take on MK Dons. That's 6th against 12th. as MK Dons try and see if they can get more than just the lone point for the season. Okay, then let's move through into Division 1 North. Now, normally at this point when we move into Tier 4, we look at Division 1 Midlands first. But Division 1 North is the other table that actually has something meaningful behind it. The other 3 leagues in Tier 4 have all been decided before this final day of the season. So we're going to look at Division 1 North first. Relegation has been decided. Doncaster Rovers Bells and AFC Fyle both going down. The battle is at the top. Middlesbrough and Cheadle Town Stingers level on points going into the final day of the season. The 2 fixtures, Middlesbrough are away to Barnsley, who are in 7th. Cheadle Town Stingers at home to bottom side AFC Fylde. Really interesting title fight has been all season long for these sides, and it's come right down to the final day. The goal difference is in Middlesbrough's favour, 29 to 26, and the goals scored is heavily in Middlesbrough's favour, 42 to 36. So you would suspect that both sides will win. Although, that being said, Middlesbrough have drawn 5 out of their 10 away games this season. So that has given Cheadle Town Stingers plenty to be enthusiastic about going into this final day of the season. So in its simplest form, let's say both sides win. For Cheadle Town to be promoted, they will have to better Middlesbrough's win by 4 goals in goal difference. So if Middlesbrough win 2-0, Cheadle have to win 6-0. If Middlesbrough win 3-1, then again it has to be a 6-goal margin for Cheadle Town Stingers. Now, Cheadle are at home to the team bottom of the table. Middlesbrough away to a mid-table side. You would say, therefore, on the balance of those 2 games in isolation, Cheadle have the better fixture for this, particularly with their own supporters behind them. But will it turn out that way? That is going to be a fascinating battle between those 2 on the final day of the season. The other 4, they don't matter. There is a little bit of movement that can happen with who finishes where. But Doncaster Rovers Bells in 11th, coming up against Huddersfield Town, who are 5th. Durham Sestra in 6th against Stockport County, who are 9th. Norton Stockton Ancients in 8th against 3rd place Chorley. And York City against Leeds United, 10th against 4th. But, as I said, the big battles there are those 2 games at the top. Middlesbrough away at Barnsley, Cheadle Town Stingers at home to AFC Fylde. Really not sure which way that one's going to go. You know, the 2 games in Tier 3, Forest are pretty much there, and you would expect them to get the point they need. Ipswich Town are there, all but, because that goal difference just is not going to change. And therefore those 2 have kind of been decided. The relegation battle, not sure, and this promotion fight, have absolutely no idea which way this is going to go. My gut is telling me that Cheadle will probably be able to put 6 or 7 past AFC Fylde when they're really going for it, knowing what they need to do. It's whether Middlesbrough can get A, the win, and then B, the goals they need, given that they have been so rough away from home so far this season. 6 draws all year, 5 of them away from home, and that really is the reason that they are not home and dry already this season. Right, those are the leagues where something properly matters. Let's just go through the 3 leagues where everything is done and dusted. We'll start them with Division 1 Midlands. Loughborough Lightning are the champions here. Solihull Moors and Lincoln City relegated into Tier 5. Fixtures this weekend then: Leaford Athletic in 4th against Sutton Coldfield Town in 8th. Lincoln United in 9th against Barnsley Women's, who are 7th. Loughborough Lightning in 1st against Boldmere St Michael's, who are 5th. Northampton Town and Peterborough United battled it out to be 2nd. They are currently 2nd and 3rd. Notts County against Solihull Moors, 6th against 11th. And Worcester City against Lincoln City is 10th against 12th. Division 1 Midlands relatively spread out, so there's very little that can actually change. Northampton Town and Peterborough United, the winner of that one will go 2nd, the loser will be 3rd. Leaford Athletic are locked into 4th. Boldmere St Michael's are locked into 5th. Notts County are locked. Notts County and Barnsley could swap 6th and 7th around there. Sutton Coldfield Town are pretty much locked into 8th because of the goal difference. Lincoln United locked into 9th. Worcester City locked into 10th. Solihull Moors and Lincoln City locked into 11th and 12th. Division 1 South East. Ashford Town take on Actonians. Again, everything all sorted here. Ashford Town in 11th against Actonians, who are in 6th. Cambridge United against Chatham Town is 9th against 3rd. Cheshire United against London Bees, 10th against 4th. Dulwich Hamlet against Real Bedford is 8th against 1st. London Seaward take on AFC Sudbury, 12th against 7th. And Norwich City in 2nd against Queen's Park Rangers in 5th. As we've said, Real Bedford are champions. They'll be in the Southern Premier Division next season. Ashford Town and London Seaward are both relegated and are locked into their position. So Ashford Town will be hoping Ashford Town will be hoping that it is Billericay Town who finish in 11th in the Southern Premier Division, because that gives them the option to stay in South East. At the moment, it is the team 11th in South West who will get offered that reprieve, which is Portishead Town. Here is South West then, again, another table that is all done and dusted. AFC Bournemouth, as we've known for a few weeks, top of the table. And they'll be in the Southern Premier Division next season. Southampton Women's and Portishead Town relegated to Tier 5. Elsewhere then, Abingdon United against Keynsham Town, 9th against 6th. AFC Bournemouth against Portishead Town, 1st against 11th. Bristol Rovers against Bournemouth Sports is 10th against 4th. 4th against 10th. Maidenhead United against Worthing, 8th against 5th. Moneyfields in 2nd take on Swindon Town, who are 3rd. And Southampton Women's, bottom of the table, against Bridgewater United. 3 leagues that everything's all done and dusted. And we have 3 things left to decide. The winner of the Northern Premier Division, which is highly likely to be Forest. The winner of the Southern Premier Division, which is Ipswich Town, barring some unheard of miracle on Sunday afternoon. The relegation spot in the Southern Premier Division, and that promotion out of Division 1 North. 4 things still to be decided on the final day of the season. Let's then have a look at what the situation is in Tier 5. We'll start in the East Midlands. And in the East Midlands Regional Women's Premier League, Sheffield FC are back into the FAWNL for next season. They'll go, you would imagine, looking at where other teams are going to be located, they will go into Division 1 Midlands. They are 6 points clear of Chesterfield Ladies with just 1 game to go. In the West Midlands Regional Premier Division, there are 2 or 3 games to go, depending on which way you look at it. Lye Town are currently top of the table, 1 point clear of Kidderminster Harriers, but Kidderminster have a game in hand. Now, they do not play again until the 4th of May. That season ends on the 18th of May. So it might be a few weeks before we know who is coming up from the West Midlands into Division 1 Midlands for next season. In the Northwest, where that is already decided as well, Wythenshawe have come up. They have finished in the end 16 points clear of second placed Darwin. Mancunian Unity could cut that gap to 15 when they play their final game of the season, but it's unlikely to happen. That season all wraps up this Sunday as well. Wythenshawe already into Division 1 North for next season. In the North East Regional League, it's tight again between Bradford City and Chester Street Town. 2 games to go for Bradford City, 3 games to go for Chester Street Town, and there's a 2 point gap between them, Bradford City holding the advantage. Now, Chester Street Town still have a game to add in to their run-in. They've got 3 to play, but only 2 currently in the system. Bradford City are playing this weekend against Alnwick, who are in 5th. But then next weekend, the bank holiday weekend, Bradford City play Chester Street Town. So that might well be the decider there as to who goes into Division 1 North for next season. Moving through towards the south, let's go to the eastern region for a team in Division 1 South East. A big fight here. There are still 4 games to go for most of the teams in the fight. Royston Town only have 3. But it's Luton who are top on 48 points, as I said, with 4 games left to go. Their season finishes on the 4th of May as well. They've got 4 games to get in to the next couple of weeks. Recording this on the Wednesday, and Luton have got a game tonight, then a game on Sunday, and then a game on Tuesday night before finishing their season off next weekend. Royston Town have 3 games remaining. They are playing this weekend, then the bank holiday weekend, and then on the 11th of May. So they may make us wait another week or so before we know who is going to go up from there. Stevenage also playing this weekend, then next midweek, then the bank holiday weekend. Then they've got their cup final against Luton, interestingly, and then they've finished their season on the 18th of May. So if results don't go Luton's way, we might be waiting until the 18th of May to see who comes out of the Eastern Region League. London and South East, Eastern Regional, Fulham are a point clear at the top of the table with 3 games to go. Dartford, though, behind them only by a point, but they only have 1 game to go. Dorking Wanderers are in 3rd, but they've already finished their season. And Saltdean United are in 4th. They can technically catch Fulham, but that would mean they can only get to 53, and they would have to overturn 36 goals with their final 3 games. And whilst mathematically it is true that Saltdean can catch Fulham, they cannot win the title. And the reason for that is that the final game of the season, again on the 18th of May, should it be required, is between Fulham and Dartford, which means that one of those sides is going to get either 3 points or they're both going to get 1, which will push them out of range of Saltdean United. So it is just between those 2 sides, between Fulham and Dartford. If Fulham get 1 win from the 2 games before they face Dartford on the last day of the season, they are up into Division 1 South East. Dartford have to hope that Fulham only get 1 point from those 2 games prior to facing Dartford. Fulham have got in the run-in to that. They have got Sport London e Benfica at home, and then Ashford United away, who are currently 10th and 11th and both fighting to stay in the division. So Fulham, before they play Dartford, have got 2 teams in the bottom 3, and they only need 1 win in order to secure their promotion to the FAWNL. So highly likely we'll be saying hello to Fulham very, very soon. Finally, then, we'll look at the 2 teams going into Division 1 South West. That's the winners of the Southern Region Women's Football League, which we already know is Ascot United. They have finished their season at 12 points clear of Wycombe Wanderers in 2nd. And then in the South West Regional Women's Football League, we still have a fight on our hands in this one between Marine Academy Plymouth and Torquay United. So Marine Academy Plymouth have played 19 games out of their 20 and are on 48 points. Torquay United have played 16 of their 20 and are on 40 points. So if Torquay United win their remaining 4 games, they will return to the FAWNL. But the big one in that league is the fact that Torquay travel to Marine Academy Plymouth on the bank holiday weekend. So either Marine Academy Plymouth will win that game, and therefore they will gain their promotion because Torquay will no longer be able to catch them, or Torquay will win that game and it might make for a very exciting end to the season. Torquay's other fixtures in this run-in is Forest Green Rovers, Sherborne Town and Pucklechurch. Now, Forest Green Rovers are 4th, Sherborne Town are 3rd. Marine Academy, Plymouth, as we've said, are first, and then Pucklechurch are down in 8th. So it is a very difficult run-in for Torquay United, and you feel, particularly at this stage of the season, if they win their remaining 4 games, bearing in mind in this run-in with all of the pressure, that means beating 4th, 3rd and 1st, then they will very much deserve their return to the FAWNL. But Marine Academy Plymouth know that with 1 game to go, and it is just that 1 game against Torquay United on the bank holiday weekend. If they win that game, or even if they just get a point from that game, although the goal difference is pretty close, then they will be in the FAWNL next year. So plenty to keep an eye on in Tier 5, even after we've finished the FAWNL. And of course, on the Women's Football Chat, we'll be bringing you all of that as it happens over the next few weeks or so. Knew that this week would be a very much shorter episode with just 1 result to go through and half of the leagues already determined that what's going to happen with the promotion and of the relegation. So next week we'll be going through all the results from that final weekend of the FAWNL and look at what it means in the Northern Premier Division, the Southern Premier Division and Division 1 North, and probably pretty much race through the other leagues as well with results that don't really mean anything as they go into the off-season, and teams will start building for next year as well. If we know what the situation will be in the Championship, we'll bring you all of that, and if any more Tier 5 sides secure their place in the FAWNL for 25-26, we'll bring you all of that as well on the Women's Football Chat. But that will do it for this week's show. As I said, quite a bit of a shorter one because there just isn't that much around, let's be honest, as we head to the final weekend of the season. And the board, which is virtually empty now, will finally be wiped clean on Sunday evening. Thank you very much for watching this week's episode of the Women's Football Chat, and goodbye.